But let me ask you, and let me bring up a name. And of course, there's a picture of you doing one of your entrances. But this guy here, Kenny Williams. Now, you mentioned that you were part of episode 1 of NXT UK all the way through to the very last episode, and a gentleman, a guy, a talent that was intertwined with your journey, with your story, is Kenny Williams, of course. And they pretty much paired you up straight away, didn't they? And you were a tag team from the off. And from what I can recall doing my research, you hadn't been involved in too much tag team action before joining WWE NXT UK, and you'd certainly not worked with or against Kenny in any way, shape, or form. So this was a brand new pairing, and in front of the TV cameras, I suppose there was some pressure on you and Kenny to gel almost straight away, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, before that, I'd done a bit of tag team stuff. Like I spent a summer tagging with Robbie X on the camps. Do you know what I mean? At the Butlins and stuff. So I'd done a little bit of tag work. I'd never met Kenny. We'd never met each other before NXT UK, and we did kind of just get thrown together. And you know, we found a way to make it work. We found a way to make it work with the Odd Couple tag team. We ended up wrestling every tag team on the roster, barring I think Trent and Tyler. We didn't wrestle because they ended up going out to Florida a lot more. We ended up getting out to WrestleMania week and actually wrestling at WrestleMania Access on one of the NXT UK tapings. We wrestled for the tag team titles a bunch of times. Obviously that 4 years we had that story. I mean, we still had a story that was unfinished even at the end of the show. I feel like I'm quite proud of that because we were obviously not a main focal part of the show, but we were a part of the show over those 4 years that was required, which is that Odd Couple, Rush Hour, bit of a comedic element, bit of entertainment, because that show was filled with a lot of Pete Dunne, Ilya Dragunov, like hard hitting, solid, technical stuff, like, and that was all great. And I'd have loved to been able to show off that side, but really, I think where we found our niche was being the entertainment on the show, being the underdog tag team, which, for the first couple of years, we started off as that. But as that show went on, we became legitimate contenders for the tag team titles, right? And we, like I said, we were part of a tag team division that was actually quite deep. You had some really good tag teams in there. And we got to wrestle all of them. Like Mandrews and Flash, Pretty Deadly when they first came in. Yeah, there's a bunch, like Oliver Carter and Oro Mensah, he wrestles as, and Ashton Smith. So in and amongst,
the whole lot.
Yeah, we wrestled GYV a lot as well. Yes, absolutely. The whole lot. It was great.
But you guys had a good run. You guys had a good run as a tag team through the back end of 2018, through 2019, into 2020. You guys had a good run. I know that there was 1 or 2 injuries in there which kind of delayed things. But you guys, I think through all of 2019, I don't know if you realize this, but from late November 2018 all the way through to early 2020, so over a year, I think you guys went undefeated.
Yeah, we went on a win streak. Yeah, we did.
You did?
Exactly. And that's what ultimately led to getting the tag team title shot. It was cool because in and amongst that 4 years, I mean, like, that's one thing that I do take as a proud achievement was being part of a WWE show from start to finish and being a part of it that people remember that wasn't necessarily something that had a title involved. If that makes sense. We had tag title matches because we got to that point as a tag team. We were quite creative with like the vignettes and the entertaining promos that we filmed. We did singles stuff during that time. I wrestled JD McDonough for the Cruiserweight title. I'm pretty sure Kenny did a bunch of stuff. I think he wrestled Finn Balor at one of the live shows as well. So it was, from 2 people that had never met each other to achieve that on a WWE product on that level, like, I'm quite proud of that. Looking back at it now, by the end of NXT UK, I wanted more, and we weren't wrestling as often as I would have liked. And you're in wrestling, I feel like you're always frustrated at something anyway. I've come to learn that now. A lot of feelings I might have had when I got released, those feelings aren't there now because you learn and you understand and you mature into the business. Those 4 years were like a crash course for like my maturity in the business and knowing how things work at the highest level, knowing how things should be done and learning. And that, being part of the show on a consistent basis, like when I wasn't injured, I was always consistently booked on that show. And for someone that had only been wrestling for 2 years before I got signed to be able to get to that level where and being consistently used on a wrestling show, it was a massive achievement for me. Like, there were some wrestlers that got to NXT UK after like 15 years of graft. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, for most of that part, and you know, I'm happy to say it. Like, I was happy to be there, and I was happy to learn, and I looked at it as more of a learning opportunity. And as much as I showed in the final product and in my performances and stuff, I learned so much about performing at the performance center, because that's where I spent so much of my time as well. That whole experience, honestly, like 2 years on now, knowing how the wrestling business works, that was an amazing experience for someone in my position.
Yeah.